Let me know when you're on. Hope you all had an awesome day enjoying the sunshine. I know me and my kiddos did. We went out twice today. Once before they napped and once after they napped. We were out as long as we could be. Let me know when you're on. Super excited. Hey, Ashley and Jet. Hi, Madeline. Oh, I haven't got to talk to you yet, sweet girl. I hope you're doing good. So excited you got to hop on tonight. Miss Dickinson, your book won. I'm super pumped. It was a tie. It was still an even tie, so I chose Piggy Pie. I had to. I love Piggy Pie. Miss Dickinson got me on this book, and I love it. My class has already heard it, but it is so funny. I hope they're still excited to hear it again. You all are going to be really excited when you hear it. I'll give everybody a couple more minutes. Miss Dickinson's excited. It's a good one if you have not heard it. We have more Twisted Fairy Tales, so don't worry. I'll do more Twisted Fairy Tales next week. Hey, Jet. I'll do maybe another minute and then I'll go ahead and get started. Hey, Landon. Aw, I miss you too, Madeline. You need to try and get on Seesaw if you can, girl. There's all kinds of cool stuff on there. We'd love to see you on there. Landon's uploaded some videos and pictures and cool stuff. All right, I'm going to go ahead and get started, and as more people hop on, oh, I miss you too, buddy. Well, they can join us. But we are on our next chapter for Charlotte's Web. So remember, we had just read where Charlotte spelled the word terrific in the web for Wilbur. And all the humans, once again, truly believed that Wilbur is terrific and are coming from near and far to see him and see this terrific pig. And Mr. Zuckerman is really convinced that he's terrific and awesome and amazing. And so Charlotte's very happy with her plan so far because she feels like Wilbur's life is going to be saved. So hopefully it will be. Hey, Melissa, and hopefully Jackson. So we're on the chapter that's called Dr. Dorian. So we're going to see what happens and who this Dr. Dorian is. The next day was Saturday. Fern stood at the kitchen sink, drying the breakfast dishes as her mother washed them. Mrs. Arbo worked silently. She hoped Fern would go out and play with the other children instead of heading for the Zuckerman's barn to sit and watch the animals. Charlotte is the best storyteller I've ever heard, said Fern, poking her dish towel in the cereal bowl. Fern, said her mother sternly, you must not invent things. You know spiders don't tell stories. Spiders can't talk. Charlotte can, replied Fern. She doesn't talk very loud, but she does talk. What kind of story does she tell? Asked Mrs. Arble. Well, began Fern, she told us about a cousin of hers who caught a fish in her web. Don't you think that's just fascinating? Fern, dear, how How would a fish get in a spider's web? Said Mrs. Arble. You know it couldn't happen, and you know you're just making this up. Oh, it happened all right, replied Fern. Charlotte never fibs. A cousin of hers built a web across the stream. One day she was hanging around on the web, and a tiny fish leaped into the air and got tangled in the web. The fish was caught by one fin, Mother. Its tail was wildly thrashing and shining in the sun. Can't you just see the web sagging dangerously under the weight of the fish? Charlotte's cousins kept slipping in, dodging out, and was beaten mercilessly over the head with the wild thrashing fish, dancing in, dancing out, throwing. Fern, snapped her mother, stop it. Stop telling these wild tales. What number are we on in the book? This is, I'm not sure what chapter this is. This is Dr. Dorian. I'm not inventing, said Fern. I'm just telling you the facts. Well, then what finally happened? Asked her mother, whose curiosity did begin to get the best of her. Charlotte's cousin won. She wrapped the fish up and she ate him when she got good and ready. Spiders can eat. Spiders have to eat just the same as the rest of us. Charlotte's cousin, oh, yes, I suppose they do, said Mrs. Arble vaguely. Charlotte has another cousin who is a balloonist. She stands on her head and lets out a lot of line and is carried aloft on the wind. Mother, wouldn't you simply love to do that? Yes, I would, come to think of it, replied Mrs. Arble. But, Fern, darling, I wish you would play outside today instead of going to Uncle Homer's barn. Find some playmates and do something nice outdoors. You're spending too much time in that barn. It isn't good for you to be alone so much. Alone, said Fern. Alone? My best friends are in that barn cellar. It's a very sociable place, not at all lonely. Fern disappeared after a while, walking down towards the Zuckermans. Her mother dusted the sitting room. As she worked, she kept thinking about Fern. It didn't seem natural for a little girl to be so interested in animals. Finally, Mrs. Arble made up her mind that she would pay a call to old Dr. Dorian and ask for his advice. She got in the car and drove to his office in the village. Dr. Dorian had a thick beard. He was glad to see Mrs. Arble and gave her a comfortable chair. It's about Fern, she explained. Fern spends entirely too much time in the Zuckerman's barn. It doesn't seem normal. She sits on a milk stool in the corner of the barn cellar near the pig pen and watches the animals hour after hour and just sits and listens. Dr. Dorian leaned back and closed his eyes. How enchanting, he said. It must be really nice and quiet down there. Homer has some sheep, doesn't he? Yes, said Mrs. Arble. But it all started with that pig we let Fern raise on a bottle. She calls him Wilbur. Homer bought the pig, and ever since it's left our place, Fern has to go to her uncle's to be near it. I've been hearing things about that pig, Dr. Dorian said, opening his eyes. They say it's quite a pig. Have you ever heard about the words that appear in the spider's web? Asked Mrs. Arble nervously. Yes, replied the doctor. Well, do you understand it? Asked Mrs. Arble. Understand what? Do you understand how there could be writing in a spider's web? Oh, no, said Dr. Dorian. I don't understand it. But for that matter, I don't understand how a spider learned to spin a web in the first place. When the words appeared, everyone said they were a miracle, but nobody pointed out that the web itself is a miracle. What's miraculous about a spider's web? Asked Mrs. Arble. I don't see why you say a web is a miracle. A web is just a web. Ever try to spin one? Asked Dr. Dorian. Mrs. Arble shifted uneasily in her chair. No, she replied. I can crochet a dolly, and I can knit a sock. Sure, said the doctor. Somebody taught you, didn't they? There's little pictures of Mrs. Arble and Dr. Dorian. My mother taught me. Well, who taught a spider? A young spider knows how to spin a web without any instructions from anyone. Don't you regard that as a miracle? I suppose so, said Mrs. Arble. I never looked at it that way before. Still, I don't understand how those words got in the web. I don't understand it, and I don't like what I can't understand. None of us do, said Dr. Dorian, sighing. I'm a doctor. Doctors are supposed to understand everything, but I don't understand everything, and I don't intend to let it worry me. Mrs. Arble fidgeted. Fern says the animals talk to each other. Dr. Dorian, do you believe that animals talk? I've never heard one say anything, he replied, but that proves nothing. It's quite possible that an animal has spoken civilly to me and that I didn't catch it because I wasn't paying attention. Children pay better attention than grown-ups. If Fern says that the animals in Zuckerman's barn talk, I'm quite ready to believe her. Perhaps if people talk less, animals would talk more. People are incessant talkers. I can give you my word on that. Well, I feel better about Fern, said Mrs. Arble. You don't think I need to worry about her? Does she look well? Asked the doctor. Oh, yes. Appetite good? Oh, yes, she's always hungry. Sleep well at night? Oh, yes. Then don't worry, said the doctor. Do you think she'll ever start thinking about something besides the pigs and the sheep and the geese and the spider? How old is Fern? She's 8. Well, said Dr. Dorian, I think she'll always love animals. I think she'll always love animals. But I doubt she spent her entire life in Homer Zuckerman's barn cellar. How about boys? Does she know any boys? She knows Henry, said Mrs. Arble brightly. Dr. Dorian closed his eyes and went into deep thought. Henry Fussy, he mumbled. Remarkable. I don't think you have anything to worry about. Let her associate with her friends in the barn if she wants to. I would say offhand that spiders and pigs were fully as interesting as Henry Fussy. Yet I predict that the day will come when even Henry will drop some chance remark that catches Fern's attention. It's amazing how children change from year to year. How's Avery? He asked, opening his eyes wide. Oh, Avery, chuckled Mrs. Arnold. Avery is always fun. Of course, he gets into poison ivy and gets stung by wasps and bees, and brings frogs and snakes home, and breaks everything he lays his hands on. But he's fine. Good, said the doctor. Mrs. Marble said goodbye and thanked Dr. Dorian very much for his advice. She felt greatly relieved. All right, so that's the end of that chapter. So we found out Dr. Dorian was actually who Fern's mom spoke to about Fern because she was concerned about Fern. And I would say rightfully so, because Fern has been talking to the animals and talking about the animals, and her mom was very concerned about that. So I totally understand that, and I can see where her mom would be concerned. So she went and talked to her doctor, but the doctor said as long as she's sleeping well and eating well and looks healthy, then she's okay. So Fern's mom believes the doctor and is just going to go with that. Now, the next chapter that we'll read, I won't get on here tomorrow and Sunday, but I'll get back on Monday. And that chapter is going to be called The Crickets. So something pretty cool must happen with crickets in that chapter is what I'm supposing. But like I told you all when I got on, there was a complete tie between two of the books. One was Piggie Pie and one was the twisted fairy tale version of The Little Mermaid. And so since it was a tie, I just chose, and I had to choose Piggie Pie. I just think it's a great way to end the weekend. It's a great story. If you haven't heard it, my kids that have, I know you've already heard me read it, but it's just so funny and I love reading it. So I'm excited that it was chosen as one of the ones to be read. I know Miss Dickinson was excited to hear it again too. And we have other twisted fairy tales that we can read next week, and I'll do more polls next week, so make sure to vote on Monday. I'll send out a little reminder, but we'll still get to read the twisted fairy tale version of The Little Mermaid too, so don't worry. But so let's go ahead and read Piggie Pie. Now, for those of you that don't know about Piggie Pie is a fairy tale, but it's not your typical fairy tale. So it's not a fairy tale that's about a prince and a princess that lives happily ever after, not at all. This is a fairy tale about Gritch the witch. So this is her. And she is ugly and grumpy and not very nice. And she really wants to make Piggie Pie. So you'll see kind of her dilemma throughout the book and what she has to deal with. But it's super, super funny. A lot of great inferring that we can do because things are not necessarily said in the book, but if you look closely at the pictures, you can kind of infer what's happening. So let's go ahead and get started. Piggie Pie. This is a great one. If you don't have it at home, this would be one that I would buy off of Amazon for sure. Gritch the witch woke up grouchy, grumpy, and very hungry. Her belly grumbled for something delicious, something delightful, something special. But what? It wasn't purple mouse stew. No, she ate that yesterday for lunch. Maybe some mashed dragon tongue pudding? No, Gritch wasn't in the mood for anything quite that sweet. Perhaps a taste of boiled black buzzard feet? That always made her mouth water. No, not today. Hey, Gritch put in something truly tasty, something really yummy, something special. And that could only mean piggy pie. Yes, yes, piggy pie. I can taste those plump, juicy pink piggies right now, Gritch said, smacking her lips. She hurried to the pantry and pulled down her old hag cookbook from the top shelf. She picked off a spider, blew off the dust, and turned to the secret recipe on page 342. Gritch ran her bony finger with the long green nail down the list of ingredients. One eye of a fly? She checked the pantry shelves. No problem, said Gritch. Two shakes of a rattlesnake's rattle? No problem, said Gritch. Three belly hairs of a possum? No problem, said Gritch. Eight plump piggies. Problem, screeched Gritch. I don't have any piggies. How can I make piggy pie without even one puny pink pig? She pulled her hair, she stomped her feet, she paced the floor. She wanted piggy pie. She wanted piggy pie very much. She said, tapping the lucky word on her chin. Now, where would I find 8 plump piggies? Gritch thought and thought and thought. Aha! She shouted with a jump. The circus! Yes, yes, the circus! The circus? No, no, not the circus. You can't find pigs in the circus. She thought harder. Aha! She shouted with a jump. The zoo! Yes, yes, the zoo. The zoo? No, no, not the zoo. You don't find pigs at the zoo. She thought much harder. The farm? Yes, yes, the farm. You find pigs on the farm. There still was just one teeny tiny little problem. Where to find a farm? Where else? Gritch let her bony fingers do the walking as she opened the yellow pages to F, where she found a very large ad. This was it. Old MacDonald's farm. Call E-I-E-I-O. Just over the river and through the woods, we have ducks, chickens, and piggies. So I love this little ad because it's just like the old MacDonald had a farm song. Call E-I-E-I-O. Very clever. Gritch put up her broomstick in gear and headed over the river and through the woods to Old MacDonald's farm. I've got you in my sights now, you little porkers, she cackled as she circled overhead. Surrender, piggies. Lots of piggies. But as you can see, they're kind of panicking and trying to put on some clothes. I wonder why. Gritch zoomed in for a thump-thump landing. She spit straw, fanned her still smoking tootsies, and lifted her goggles. There wasn't a pig in sight. Where did they all go? Gritch shouted to a duck. Hey, duck, I said, where are all the piggies? I need 8 plump piggies for piggy pie. The duck quacked here, it quacked there, here it quacked, there it quacked, everywhere it quacked. No piggies. But do you notice something funny about these ducks? What do you mean, no piggies, you dizzy duck? Screeched into his bill. I just saw a pass old piggies down here not a minute ago. Hand over those hogs, you little quacker. No piggies, quacked the duck. Gritch pulled her hair, she stomped her feet, she even threatened the duck with one of her most evil spells. The duck was not impressed, it wasn't even scared. It gave Gritch another quack and waddled away. So who needs a dumb duck? Gritch muddled. Being careful where she stepped, Gritch wandered across the meadow. Yoo-hoo! She shouted. Moo? Moo, Gritch said to the cow. Where are the piggies? I need 8 plump piggies for piggy pie. The cow moo-mooed here, it moo-mooed there. Here it mooed, there it mooed, everywhere it mooed. No piggies. Look at the cows over here. Something odd about those cows. What do you mean no piggies, you lucky-looking cow? Screamed Gritch. Need 8 piggies for Piggie Pie. Look over the park, you walking milk machine, or I'll curdle your cream. No piggies, mooed the cow. Gritch pulled her hair, she stomped her feet, she even cut the cow with one of her most evil spells. The cow stared at Gritch, spotted a fly with its tail, and lumbered away. Cows, who needs them? Gritch muttered. So she tried the barnyard, where she stopped a chicken in its tracks. Okay, bird brain, where are the piggies? I need 8 plump piggies for Piggie Pie. The chicken clucked here, it clucked there. Here it clucked, there it clucked, everywhere it clucked. No piggies. What do you mean, no piggies, you feathered drumstick? Greach snitched. What's going on here? Who's the boss of this heap of hay? The chicken flapped its wing toward Old MacDonald. Rich looked him over once, twice. You're Old MacDonald, she said. Don't look much like your picture, do you? The farmer thumbed his suspenders and shrugged. Look, Shorty, I've been quacked here, moo there, and clucked everywhere all over this farm. I need 8 piggies for Piggie Pie. Where are the piggies? The farmer looked here, he looked there, here he looked, there he looked, everywhere he looked and looked. No piggies. What do you mean no piggies, you flea-bitten seed splitter? You must have piggies. Gritch pulled her hair, she stomped her feet. She even threatened him with one of her most evil spells. No piggies! Her stomach growled, it grumbled. If there were no piggies, there would be no Piggie Pie. Now what was she going to eat? Notice something funny about Old MacDonald in these 2 pictures? Excuse me, little lady. Wolf's the name. Let me give you some advice. Forget about the pigs. Forget about the pigs, said Gritch, eyeing the wolf. He nodded. They're too tricky. Trust me. I've been chasing 3 little pigs for days. He huffed and puffed. I'm starving. Look at me. I'm nothing but skin and bones. So that's a little snippet from another fairy tale that we know, The 3 Little Pigs. Gritch pitched his arm. Well, not quite, she grinned. Mr. Wolf, I have the most wonderful idea. I was thinking, since you haven't eaten and I haven't eaten, why don't you come home with me for lunch? I'm a very good cook. Why, that sounds tempting, the wolf said as he looked at Gritch and smacked his lips. Are you sure it wouldn't be any problem? Problem? Gritch grinned. No problem at all, she said as they walked off arm in arm. I always enjoy having a wolf for lunch. So this is the page that I talked about with my kiddos that you really had to infer, because if you look at the picture, you can see the wolf is dreaming about eating a Gritch burger, and the Gritch is dreaming about having a wolf sandwich. So we decided one of those 2 are gonna get eaten. But you have to infer and make a guess for yourself which one you think. So I love that book. I think it's so funny. A great little fairy tale that's totally different than the prince and princesses that we all are used to hearing. So I'm so glad that Miss Dickinson showed me that book this school year. I'd never heard of it. I'd never heard of this book until Miss Dickinson showed me, and it is so funny, and I'm glad that she did, because now I bought one for myself and I'm going to read it to my class every year. So I hope you all have had a great week. I hope you have had a great Friday. Have a good weekend. Have fun. my class, you are welcome to get on Seesaw still. I probably won't upload anything new again until Monday, maybe if I find something cool. But a lot of you all did awesome on those little maker spaces today, making the planes or the towers and making your reading forts. So that was really fun to see. If you haven't got on Seesaw, try and get on there because that's where we're going to do assignments now that we're going to be out of school a little bit longer. Also, if you're in my class, make sure you check your dojo messages. On Monday, we're going to be doing a little live chat with Zoom because that's also something that I'm going to be using with my class now that we're going to be out a little bit longer. So I would love to see all y'all's cute little faces on Monday. So I'm going to try and do that Monday around 5. And I'll still do a read aloud Monday. I'll do it again at 7:30. I'll just keep this 7:30 time. So make sure you tell your friends they're welcome to watch. Anybody's welcome to watch. This page is public, so you don't have to just be in Miss Palmer's class to watch. But let your friends know, your family know, and if you're in my class, check dojo. If not, I will see you back here Monday. Make sure you vote for our book Monday. We have more Twisted Fairy Tales to read. And I hope you all have a great weekend. I'll talk to you all soon. Bye-bye.